watching. The family will be
Wow.
watching. So we definitely want
Wow.
to discuss her and her situation. And my heart goes out to her family.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Are you ready? Wait, no, let's hope I can. We've got about 2 minutes and 46 seconds, and we're gonna go live. We're already live. We're just getting everybody on board, okay?
Thank you so much for having me, Tony. I truly appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. I enjoyed it. I'm glad to have you as my guest tonight.
And you've been such a great friend too. So thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna be fine. Be right back with you, okay?
All right.
Hey, already you got quite a few.
What happened?
Okay, you on your cell phone, right?
Right.
Okay, you can't see the comments. All right, we're gonna give a big shout out, okay?
Okay.
All right. We have a lot of my family watching. They're from Lafayette, Rain,
Nice.
yeah.
Oh, I know who Rain is.
All my
That's my beautiful sister who has my back. That's pretty awesome that you can see. You know, that's wonderful.
Right. Welcome to Knowledge is Power Podcast Live, and I am so excited tonight. I have my good friend TONETTE MOUTON, and our subject tonight is I too was abused. This is October. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and all month this month we've had guests who has been a victim, or have advocates for domestic violence. And tonight I have my good friend TONETTE MOUTON. TONETTE MOUTON. Hello, my
Tony,
friend. Hey,
thank you
love. How
so
are
much for
you?
having me. I appreciate it.
Yes. You are so much
And
welcome.
allowing me to tell my story, you know.
I want you to tell your story. I want you to tell it like it is, and we're so glad to have you. So I'm going to go and say a big shout out to all your friends and loved ones out here, and also some of my folks here. I can't believe it. But it's Kimberly Ann Mouton said hello. Hi, Kimberly.
Oh, that is my
Hey,
youngest
Kimberly. Hello, that's
sister. Love
Kimberly.
you.
Hello, that's your sister. Okay.
Oh, well, don't make me
Uh,
cry. Oh, my mom. I
your
love you
Mouton.
guys. I
Oh,
didn't know I could see this. This is
yes.
wonderful.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow. Okay, you
And
guys don't.
we
I'm
got
such
another
a
shout
grateful
out to
for my
Jennifer.
friend Jennifer. I love you, Jennifer.
Yes, and
And
okay,
wow,
and
this is wonderful.
Kimberly is saying we love you too, TONETTE. You can see, you can read my comments. Okay, great.
She's
How
my
about
twin. Yeah.
Aaron?
Oh, look at Aaron. Oh my God. I mean,
Yes,
my support system is so big and it means so much to me. Like, look at this. I love you,
yeah,
Aaron.
yes. It's so good to have you too. Look, hey, how are you today? Now, there we go. So, all the comments. Also, let me give you one more before we get started with our show, and that's another good friend of yours.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Hi.
And we got a big shout. Thank you, everyone, for joining us at Knowledge is Power Podcast Live. We are on every Sunday and Tuesdays on at 7:30 with all types of topics. We talk about community affairs, community events. We just do things to make things work for everyone, to inform everyone, and we're very informative. We'll be right back with TONETTE MOUTON, and I too was abused. Welcome to Knowledge is Power Podcast Live with your host, Tony Redford, and my co-hosts, LaDonna Sherwood and Francis Lawkins.
Knowledge is Power Podcast Live starts now.
Okay, we are back with my good friend, TONETTE MOUTON. TONETTE. On one side of the state line, can't say it one way, one on the other side say the other. TONETTE.
I answer by all.
Okay. I know. We're going to talk about I too was abused, and we're talking about violence, domestic violence, which is a very serious matter in relationships, and we have these, and we never know what goes on behind closed doors. So I am so glad to have you with us, and I want you to know that we're glad to have you as our guest here on Knowledge is Power Podcast Live. Now, TONETTE, tell me, how did you come up, and what started this? How did you how did it all begin? And I know we've got some work here to do, but let's do that.
Oh boy. Okay. So when you say begin, I'm from Louisiana. I'm a mother of 3 grown kids, raised them on my own, 27, 24, and 21. They are my pride and joy. I have 3 grandchildren. Everybody resides pretty much in Louisiana except one. So when I met my husband, he's originally from Texas and I'm from Louisiana. So pretty much the dating was, back and forth from state to state. So pretty much not right away was I able to see the red flags, as I want to say, as I would call them, caution flags. Okay.
Yes.
So, and here's the thing, we often, ignore the signs. One thing that I'm going to be transparent about is, the mistakes that I made. I the signs were there. I just chose to ignore them, act like they didn't exist.
Right.
The signs were there. So in the process of moving back and forth, and visiting, from Texas to Louisiana, I basically, when you meet somebody and you're dating and you're courting them, you take them at face value, right?
Right.
But red signs, when you're finding out that he has no relationship, or anybody that you're dating or married to, or just friends with, if you see them that they don't talk to their mother, they don't talk to anyone in their family, that's a red sign.
Right.
Okay. There's questions. There's things that you need to ask questions about, Another red sign, when they are definitely, finding excuses to put down your children, and their abilities and prospering in life. Everybody prospers different. That's a red sign. And that will lead to dysfunction. And one of the major red signs that I had was my son came to me and he told me, he said, Mom, he talks bad about you whenever he's mad at you. He gets on the phone, he calls different people. And really, I knew my son didn't want to move and transfer to a different school and meet new friends. And I just really thought that he was just trying everything in his power for me to, not get married. And so he could be and go to school, start high school with his friends, and I should have paid more attention and I should have looked more into what he was saying, you know.
What Tonette, did you see any of those signs, any red flags when you was dating this gentleman? Did you pay attention to the red flags when you was dating him? Uh-oh. You there? Tonette? Hello, Tonette? Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, Tony, I think we may be having some issues.
Okay. I was asked the question I was asking this. Did you notice any of those red flags when you were dating? Okay. Testing. 1, 2. Oh, you're muted. You muted. Uh-oh. We kind of lost Tonette here for a minute, I guess. Let's see here. We can get it back here. Hey, Tonette, you're muted. You're mute. Your mic.
I'm thinking that we may be having some
All right.
issues,
No.
but I'm just going to go on and continue on
Yeah, your
with,
mic was muted.
and I'm sure that when Tony's able to get back in, he can. I'm going to continue on discussing, red flags that we constantly, as I call them, fear factors, and just go over a couple of signs that I personally went through and just personal endeavors that I've been through and family members that I know have gone through. Number one, no one speaks to him in his immediate family, as I discussed. That's a red flag because you have to know that something's off there. And I chose to ignore that sign. No immediate people show up to your wedding. That's a major red flag. When someone's mother, father, none of the siblings show up to the wedding, it's a major red flag. Pay attention how he speaks to his mother and child. If he has no respect for the way he speaks to his mother and he's willing to disrespect her and call her names and belittle his own kid, he would do it to you. Those are signs that you need to run. Isolation. Okay. Major red flags. This pretty much is red flags for family members that may know that their child, sibling, cousin, friend is in an abusive relationship. When we isolate ourselves, it's because we're hiding something. We're hiding that we're not happy. We're hiding that we're crying, and we're actually scared. So that is a major concern that you definitely need to look more into finding out what's going on. Changes in the, abusive behavior. Basically meaning if this person is abused, their moods are going to change. They're going to lash out to family members because they can't lash out to the person they want to. So it tends to take, this toxicness tends to be taken out on family members, close loved ones, to where you don't understand what's going on. Look for these signs because there's some, you have to know it's coming from an unhappy place, a sad place. So at that point, pay more attention, go visit. If she doesn't answer the phone, go to the home, check up on your child, sibling, friend. Just be that supportive person. That's just, to me, that's just very important. Red flags, belittling in the public. Okay. Private. That was the beginning stages for me. No one should be belittling in the public. It's just a code of ethic, morals, respect, big time red flag. If he can belittle you in front of people and he gets a high out of it, run. Because he will belittle you anywhere. And that's including in front of your family members. He has no respect for himself or you. Run. Showing anger when you're with your family and friends when he's not around. If you cannot go visit or see your family by yourself because he chooses he doesn't want to come, or even if you just want to go see your family or spend time with your sisters by yourself, that is a major problem. That's not love. That's controlling and an obsession. Knowing the difference between love and obsession. Seriously, ladies, we have to know. We got to do better on that. Big time. Speaking down on your family and children, as I discussed earlier, major red flag. If he cannot find any high points in your children's academics or achievements, he's never going to. Your children are never going to amount to anything. Your children are always going to be a downfall. If you put your children first, run. Oh my goodness. Okay, so here's one red flag that I definitely want to discuss. I had never heard of this before, but of course I had never been married before. Threats of a divorce if you don't do what they want. I don't know how the court system allows someone to constantly file for divorce and they use it as a threat, because that's their way of trying to intimidate you and scare you to stay in the marriage. Okay, and to get them to, it's a breakdown, it's a hurt, it's an unworthy feeling. No. The first time when it happens, if you know anyone that's in a marriage that is going through this, they're not going to stop. They're going to keep doing it. And you are losing a self of yourself. Every time when you allow it, he is breaking you down and he is winning and he's happy. Every time you shed a tear behind that, no. When he files, run. I don't care if they say they're sorry. They're not sorry. It's a manipulation to get you to stay. Get out. Run. Okay. Not telling your family and accepting his apology. This hit home for me. My family did not know at all what was going on with me. And I kept it quiet. I didn't want to hurt them. And I wanted my family's, I'm looking at my family, their lives are going well, everyone's doing good. And the last thing I wanted to do was burden them with my problems. And I kept it quiet. I kept a quiet face. I pretended like everything was happy. I would smile when really I was crying. I was missing out on functions because every time when I would go home to see my family, there was a price I had to pay. So I would miss out a lot. And like I said, I was lashing out to my family, when really the person I needed to lash out was the person that was hurting me. Hurtful feeling. And at this time, finding out that there's a recent domestic violence murder in my hometown of Louisiana, in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Shyla James, rest in peace, sweetheart. Her family didn't know. My prayers goes out to you and your family, and trust me when I tell you, I know you didn't know the signs. You guys didn't know what to look for. There's a part of us that feels like we can help save them. We think that we can help them, or they're going to change. And if we tell anyone, they're going to we can fix this. And if we tell, our family's automatically going to hate them. Anyone watching that is young, that is, watching this, I'm here to tell you that is the wrong thing to do. You can't change anyone but yourself. They have to want to change. And to be honest with you, if they have to do the work, they don't belong in a relationship. Okay? They're not ready for a relationship. So I am telling you, if these signs exist and you feel that you cannot turn to your family, run. Get out of this relationship. Okay? She did not deserve to die. She had her whole life ahead of her. Her mom was planning her birthday party, her 20th birthday party, and now she has to turn around and plan a funeral. That was very selfish of you because you weren't man enough to get the help that you needed, that you took someone's life. It's not right. And my heart goes out to you guys. I look forward to one day meeting you guys. Tracy, my dear cousin, I know this is your niece, and my heart goes out to you. All I ask is to tell her story, get it out there. If you could save one person's life, then that story was worth telling. And that's why I'm here today. Seriously, that is truly why I'm here today. Defending yourself by fighting back. Listen, my mom, had this conversation with me, and it was just so beautiful. Of course, with any fight, somebody hits you, you're gonna fight back, right? But when it's somebody that you love, and you find yourself always having to defend yourself, why? Why are we going to continue to keep fighting back? Because what it does, it takes a toll on your body. It takes a toll on you. And what you don't understand is that you're mentally harming yourself. You're hurting yourself more. You think, oh yeah, this is not mentally, oh yeah, girl, I hit him back. I did. Stop. Because the energy that you put in to fight him could be positive energy that you're putting into your life. So now I'm telling you, go out there, end it, run from it. Don't make the mistakes that I made. Please don't make the mistakes I made. Beginning to second guess yourself. Okay, that was me. I second guess myself so much. They tell you they're going to change. They're going to get counseling. They're going to do this. Don't take their word. Show me the work. Don't listen to the words. Get out of the relationship. If you feel like you could be salvaged, then go and stay at your family's home. Get out of that scenery. Go into another atmosphere, environment, so you can begin to heal your healing process. Okay. I'm going to share a couple of stories of things that's happened to me. And I share it because there's lessons to be learned from it. Okay. My relationship started with slowly belittling me. It was, started off like at a crawfish ball where, I cut up the onions wrong. And so he belittled me in front of everybody. I had never experienced a belittling before. So I was really shamed, and I went in the bathroom and I cried. Okay. And then I went to take the trash out, and everybody's outside, and he belittles me again. And it's devastating. When you're not accustomed to it, it's devastating. Even though it seems like it's small, it's a big part. One of the most hurtful things, and I wish if I could go back and change everything, this is the most important red flag that ever. His daughter, absolutely beautiful, beautiful girl. And we had a party, and she had a little bit too much to drink that particular night. But look, she's young, she's partying it. But one of the things that she told me, I knew then I should have never. I had that moment, I should have ended and not got married. I should have stopped it then. But any man that can tell his daughter that she was a wasted sperm, and to think that I doubted because I said she might be just saying that because she was drunk. I have no one to blame but myself on that one. No one to blame but myself. The first time the physical abuse started, It was I will never forget it. My goddaughter was having her first birthday party. And I had bought her a rocking pony, and I was so excited to go to the party. And he started screaming and hollering, and an argument broke out. I don't remember exactly all of what started the argument, but I just remember he was screaming and hollering. I was called a bitch, a hoe, a slut, fat, ugly. Nobody was gonna want me. I suffered, for a couple of years. I've always suffered with depression. He told me to take all my medication so we can have these people come in, pick me up. And I remember I locked the door and I put my body against the door and I just cried and I prayed in that corner. I just prayed. I just prayed. He was just screaming. And when he would walk away, I'm like, okay, maybe he's done. So then I did one of the most scariest things. And this is why I tell this story, because I don't recommend anyone to do this. I did the most scariest thing. I decided to videotape him. Okay, I videotaped him. And so every time he'd stop, I'd cut it off. And I said, I wonder if he could hear how he sounds. So what I did was I replayed it back. He broke that door in half. He grabbed me by my neck. And before he grabbed me, he took a whole bunch of my depression medicine, grabbed me by my neck, and made me swallow it. Took my phone.
Tonette.
And I went to bed. And I said, God, I'm going to die tonight. I'm going to die. I didn't have the energy to fight. I just wanted out of, but I had no idea how I was going to get out.
My goodness.
Nobody should have to endure that. And the fact that he closed the door like it was nothing. And he really wanted me to die that night. And he was just going to call and say, hey, she committed suicide. I am his third wife.
At that point,
and every one of them were abused.
At that point, Tonette, did you think about
Ladies,
it?
wake up. Don't make those mistakes. I don't care. There's no Prince Charming. Okay? There's nobody that's going to whip you off your feet, and tell you that I can give you everything. I can give you this beautiful home. I can give you this gorgeous house. I'm going to make you so happy. No, everybody in life has flaws. Everybody. Okay? But it's what you can endure. You're honest with that person. You're going to marry this person. So I'm going to share my exciting part of me. I'm going to share my sad part of me. I'm going to share my vulnerable side of me, my fears in life. But if they're not sharing theirs, then guess what? I just wasted 6 years of my life in this marriage. Because what he did was he was able to take it and use it against me. See, domestic violence people, the abusers, they prey on the weak. And unfortunately, when you suffer with a mental illness, you're considered weak. But the truth of the matter is, we're highly intelligent people. We didn't ask for our illness. It's a chemical imbalance that is sometimes it's hereditary. You're born with it. But we're highly intelligent. We suffer with our emotions and sometimes we don't, we hold so much in and we don't share that moment, of pain that we're going through. And sometimes when we do, it doesn't come out right. Our minds are baffled. So sometimes we're crying so much and then our emotions just take the best of us, okay? But, there was one more other episode that I'm going to share. And then I want to get to the healing, because to me, that is the most important part of my journey. Okay. Um, there was another part where, and once again, I think of Shyla, James, rest in peace, sweetheart. I think about you. I think about your family. Um, at the time, my husband was really mad at me, and somehow I got pushed and I fell on the floor. He kicked me in my head so many times, stomped on my head and on my neck. I remember that cry because I was so scared. He could have broke my neck. He has no remorse. Okay. These people have no remorse of what they do. I cried. I literally every single night went to bed crying, like, God, I don't want to be here. I had stopped. I was alive, but I had stopped living. I isolated myself. I stayed in the home because I figured, guess what? If I don't go anywhere with him, and if he gets in a bad mood, he won't embarrass me and he can't come back and say I did something wrong. So I stayed in the house. Then that was the problem. It's like everything I did was just nothing was right. Okay. So basically, we were at one point just living like roommates. Okay. When he did that, I was at the end. I didn't want to live anymore. I had nothing to live for. I didn't want to burden my family. I didn't want them to worry. My kids were grown. I did a video for them. I was really giving up on life. And so I would just pray and I would like, God, just take me in my sleep. I was beginning to lose my faith. Okay. Wow. I was wondering, I'm like, God, you're not listening to me. Do you love me? Like, help me, show me out. Show me out. I was a basket case. I was literally a vegetable. And the last resort of me ending this marriage was when he put his hands on my granddaughter.
Wow.
So when that happened, of course, he had to leave the home and I had to stay in the house. But before that happened, I had my grandchildren during the pandemic. And during the pandemic, they were with me because their parents were considered essential workers. So I was always trying to find things for them to do outside and crafts and stuff like that. So one day they were just racing and they were running. And I saw this red cardinal bird come on the fence, and I was like, okay, that's odd. I was like, this is a beautiful red cardinal bird. So a couple of days later, it was pool. I set up a little pool for them. They played in the pool. Here comes another red cardinal bird, just watching them play. Okay, and Nori suffers with asthma, so I would give her breathing treatments and all kind of. So a lot of times she would wake up when I would wake up. So one morning, the double doors were open to the bathrooms, and I just see this red cardinal bird, and it just kept nipping, nip, 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 nip. And I was like, what is that noise? And I look up and I can see it was a red cardinal bird. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it just went on. And then there was another time I'm feeding Nori breakfast and the red cardinal bird's nipping at the window. And she's like, Gigi, look at that bird. I had seen within 2.5 months of having my grandchildren, I had seen red cardinal birds, at least about 20 of them within 2.5 months. I found that very weird. And I was like, what is going on? So in the process of the kids leaving and my ex-husband being out of the house, I was, I had one son that was in the military and he was coming off the base, but he was coming to stay with me. But when you deal with the military, the time frames sometimes change. So I was in the house by myself and I would close all the blinds and, just I was crying a lot, just a basket case, scared, afraid, constantly. He told me, I'm going to make you homeless. I'm going to make you, you know, um, live in a shelter, you know. So,
So you're saying he was
just all these fear
continuously,
factors are going through
so
my head.
so
Now, by
you're
this
telling,
time, my family knew, and so I was getting the calls and the support from them, and they were looking out for me. Um, so I'm watching TV, and I hear tick, 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 and it was like at the window at the study room, and all the blinds, everything's closed. And so I went and I opened the blinds, and it was two red cardinal birds. And this time, they were determined. They stayed a good while, and we stared at each other. And I knew exactly who that was. And I definitely believe that was my grandparents who came for me. And I think they've been coming for me. I think they were warning me for the situation that was going to happen with my granddaughter. But the lesson behind this, and I share this story, is because God taught me a valuable lesson. See, the lesson was He never forsaked me. He was there the whole time. He listened to all my prayers. And what He did was He brought reassurance to me. He said, I was here the whole time. I don't move. He cannot move on your time. You cannot force things. But I had to be patient and wait when it was time. And then in return, He says, not only did I not forsake you, but I brought reassurance. I brought family to you. From that point on, I no longer was scared. I no longer felt alone. And I maintained to get my energy, and I was going to get strong, and I was going to fight. So during that time, you know, it was just like, wow, it was like a breather for me. I share this testimony because I've never experienced anything, and I don't know if anybody has experienced anything like that, but it is the most humble experience that you could ever experience in your life. Seriously, I mean, it makes me still cry today thinking about it because I'm so humbled by it. So, when we talk about healing, you know, one thing people are, often, we think, okay, I'm scared, I'm afraid, but you have to be willing to do the work. Often people say counseling's no, 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 I don't believe in counseling, telling a stranger your problems. These strangers have done research. These strangers have went to college and are very knowledgeable. Okay. Now, what I have learned is that you need to talk to them, not Mary Jane, who's been married for 36 years and who just claims her marriage is just so perfect and randy. Okay. Or the woman who's been who's been divorced for 2 or 3 times, who's giving you the horrible advice. Okay. Been there. God completely removed her out of my life. Thank you, Jesus. But you have to do what's right for you. And basically, you have to start by reprogramming your mind. You have to walk away from the toxicness, the negativity, and you have to get to a purpose in your life to start to think positive. And I have always been a firm believer that, surround yourself with the environment that you want to be around. So if you want peace in your life and happiness, you need to hang with people that bring peace and happiness in their lives, and they will bring it in yours. God brought me so many wonderful people within 1 year in my life. Tiffany Early. I mean, seriously, she is my spiritual mentor. I literally can call her. She prayed heavily on me. By the time she finished, literally, I went to sleep. I was completely drained. What she did was she cleansed me. All that toxicness and evilness and hurt and pain and everything, my mind was starting to think clear. Now, does that mean that I have to stop? No. So as soon as the divorce process started, I went straight into counseling. Okay. There are resources which I'm going to discuss and give you like names of resources and telephone numbers and addresses that are available for you 24/7. You can pick up the phone and call them at any time, you know. So don't get, a lot of times we're like, oh, but, so and so, they're going to talk about me, or I'm going to get judged. Let me tell you something. Who cares about so and so? And who cares who's judging you? Because the only thing that should be important in your life at this point is you. And when you're healing, you have to put yourself first. You have to find a way to start to love yourself, to understand yourself. When I started counseling, I had certain questions that I needed to know. I needed to know what attracted me. I mean, why did I allow him to do this to me for so long? And why did I saw the signs, and why didn't I, walk away from them? And what could I do to make sure I never attract this type of man again? Because guys, what you have to understand is that this is a learned behavior. If you don't make these changes, if you don't do the work, okay, you have to trust the process. If that means that you shouldn't date or get your life together in order for a year or two, fine. Because let me tell you something. There's peace. Oh my goodness. It's $0 for peace. It's $0 to wake up to, no one screaming and hollering in your ear. Okay. So, and that's just some of the things that, I go through, unraveling. Okay. Journal, everyday journal. But when you write in your journal, which Tiffany Early gave me a journal, I swear I love this girl. And she brought me the journal right before I started writing, right before my counseling started. I mean, just wonderful. When you're writing in your journal, don't write anything negative. Put everything in your journal that's positive that's going on. I don't care if it's like, oh, it was just such a beautiful day today. And, I laughed about this. And, oh, this beautiful song made me think of this. And, start to program your mind to happier thoughts. Now, I'm not saying for you to forget the abuse that you went through. Okay. I'm simply saying for you, in order to move on, you have to forgive. So yes, I had to forgive my husband so I could move on. And I went into counseling to be a better person, because you know what? I don't want to take the problems that I went through in this relationship onto another. I want to be a new version, a better version of me, right? And I smile when I say that, because it's such a fulfilling it's such a fulfilling thing for me, and what I've experienced. So be prepared to want to do the work. Think of when you're going through something, and let's say in your journal, I have nothing positive to say. Well, you find something positive. You think about those moments when you were happy, or when your friend had a wedding and you guys laughed and danced, or you went to this birthday party. You think of those happy moments. Okay, because what you're doing is you're reprogramming your mind to get back to this person that you loved, that person that was happy, that was smiling, and that was full of life. That's all. You're fulfilling your energy to be full of life with happy thoughts. Okay, so another thing I had to learn: own the mistakes that you made. Okay, when I say that, there's things that I could have done differently. Okay, but in order for me to move on, I have to take ownership. My ex-husband did what he did because of the truth of the matter is, I allowed him to do it. I wasn't strong enough to do it. I wasn't strong enough to walk out of my marriage that led to him eventually putting his hands on my granddaughter. Those are the things. Once you start to acknowledge accountability, it's a healing process. And those are movements toward a better and brighter future. Okay. And that's just something. And listen, I raised 3 boys, and anybody that truly knows me knows that I'm a tough cookie. So a lot of people find it very hard that, wow, she went through this. Yes, I did. Okay. Because just like everybody else, I wanted to be loved. You know, I wanted to be married. I just don't push it, don't rush it, let it just happen. The signs were there, and I should have paid attention. Period. Period.
So Lynette,
So get your journal books out, get started, okay? Find your faith. Oh my gosh, find your faith. So once you're done doing the work and gotten out of the abusive relationship, and my desire is to see you whole, healthy, loving yourself. Oh my gosh. And I'm so much better with that. And being at peace and being happy, finding that happy place, and, know that you're not carrying this baggage for the rest of your life. Okay. This is a minor setback. And sometimes a minor setback may be taking a couple of years to heal. But guess what? It's still a minor setback. Believe in yourself. Believe that you have the strength to carry on and move on. What I don't want is don't ever self-medicate yourself. This is why you have to go and talking to your family, and surround yourself. Look, if you have toxic friends in your life, get rid of them because you can't possibly heal. Oh, wow, you should have did this. No. Don't lose a sense of value that you have. Okay. Don't be afraid to tell your story, because your story could, it could really help someone. It really could. Value yourself. Let me tell you something. That's where I wasn't valuing myself. I was told for so many years that I wasn't worth nothing, that I was never going to have anything. And God determined that was a lie. I was going to be homeless. God determined that was a lie. Okay. So you have to believe in yourself, and, don't be afraid to ask for help. And I think that's, mostly with older women. I'm 48 years old. We tend to have a lot of pride. We hold on to pride, right? Don't be afraid and don't be ashamed, because we as sisters, we need to protect ourselves. And I want you to know something, that if you continue to stay in an abusive relationship, there is a king out there that can't find his queen because you're still in this toxic relationship. Get out, get healed, get better, put a smile on your face. You know what I'm saying? Speak your word, and don't be ashamed to tell your story. Okay? And that is truly, how I feel about it. I've often, many people have asked me, a lot of people have want me to write a book. This is where my dear friend Bobby Kay, that I absolutely love. I mean, she's my right-hand girl. I love you, baby. And we are in the process of putting something together. We're just looking for the right publicist to work with us. And it's just so many stories of positiveness that I definitely want to share through my journal, my journey just through life, just even being a single mom down to, suffering with depression. Don't let anyone label you. You're not crazy. Don't fall for it. See, people that talk like that are very ignorant. Okay. And they're uneducated, and you don't get mad. You actually feel sorry for them. Okay. So once again, I've also been asked, what if I could do anything to make these changes, and to, if I could change anything in domestic violence awareness. And I say this for the month, listen, here we are. We have sex offender registries, okay? No matter how small the crime is, no matter how big the crime is. If I could change anything, I would love to see a domestic violence registry, no matter how small or how big the crime. We should have a right before we go on a date or before we try to get to know someone. We should have that right to determine if we want to, have that right to determine to see what their background is. Okay. We should be able to determine that. If I could change anything, that's definitely something that I would do. Lastly, I definitely want to go over resources. Now, I'm in the Houston area, but if my name is TONETTE MOUTON, I'm on all social medias as TONETTE MOUTON. Listen, if you need a shoulder to cry on, I'm here. If you need just someone for advice, medical, I'm not a doctor, but I will find you one. I can give you resources to choose. Now, the resources that I'm giving out this evening is strictly out of Houston, Texas. One of them is AVDA, and it's at 1001 Texas Avenue. And the number is 1-800-799-7233. This is a place that you can contact if this is a woman's center. So if you are in desperate need, please contact them. There's also Houston Women's Center, 713-528-2121. They're open 24 hours. Contact them. You're not alone. Trust me, we're out here, and I'm sharing my story, and I was scared, but I'm not. I am so blessed. I've met so many great people within a year, genuinely great people with no hidden agendas. Keep your circle small. Keep your circle with positive people, guys, positive people who want to see you excel. There are going to be some haters. They're not going to understand. And look, there are going to be some that are just messy. Look, welcome to life. They're the least of your problems. So you can't change ignorance. There's also Star of Hope Mission Women's Center, and it's a shelter. It's at 4848 Loop Central Drive, 713-748-0700. Like I said, I really hope that by me sharing my story and some insights, was able to really help you. I'm 48. A lot of people don't think that I would have went through the things that I went through, but I did. But you know what? Stay prayed up. And let me tell you something. God is my best friend. He is truly divine, my best friend. And he has answered my prayers. And trust me, continue to pray, continue to talk to him. And please, please turn to your family. Tell your family, call your family, answer your family. Please, guys, don't think you can change anybody. No, they have to want to change. And seriously, one of the things that I definitely want to say is that if you have unresolved issues from your childhood or anything, don't get in a relationship until you are completely healed from it. Okay? Because you're not doing any justification to yourself or to others. I just want to say thank you to Mr. Tony, and to everyone who was out here listening to me. And I was able to share my story, and I hope that I was able to impact you. Once again, rest in peace, Shyla, James. I'm praying for you and your family, and I hope to meet your family soon. I love you guys, and God bless.
Thank you so much, Tonette. What a testimony that was. That is one testimony. And you have really, I am so proud of you. You've gone through so much and you're still here with us. So thank you so much for the great, great, great message that you've passed down today for those who will listen to us. We are over over 20 social media platforms and all over the world and all over the country. And I want that message to get out. And I know that you will be one of the biggest advocates for domestic violence. So, people, we thank you again for. I too was abused with TONETTE MOUTON, and on Tuesday, we are going to have our last segment of breast cancer. Also, October is breast cancer awareness with Sisters for Sister of Southeast Texas with the President Barbara Daniels and Vice President Diane McGowan will be with us on Tuesday at 7:30. Join us here at Knowledge is Power podcast every Sunday evening at 7:30 on Sundays and Tuesdays. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us. We'll be back. See you on Tuesday.
Thank you for watching Knowledge is Power Podcast Live. Be sure to like and subscribe to all Knowledge is Power social media pages.